Hello guys and welcome to another episode of biology. Today we are looking at evidences for evolution. Evidences for evolution. Okay, so this will be the last part of our class on evolution. Okay, so the next class will be dedicated to answering questions alone from past questions from evolution. Okay, to give us an idea about the kind of questions that are being asked of you. All right, we're going to use our O3 Schools app, of course. Okay, to see how the app will help you in a great deal. So please ensure you get the app. Okay, if you have made your decision that you don't want to write your exam twice, it's your choice. So okay, so many people, they like writing. I've seen people who wrote JAMB 7 times before, but it is never your portion. Okay, so please write your exam, pass at once. Okay, so please get the app. The app has everything you need to succeed in your exam. All the past questions are on the application for all the subjects. Okay, apart from that, there are some features designed to make you perform optimally well. The question search feature, like after studying a particular topic, you can use question search feature to search for question on a particular topic, and all the questions that JAMB or WAEC have set, okay, will come out for you to answer. WAEC is going CBT also, so please, as you're getting the JAMB app, also get the WAEC application. Okay, all right. There's no way that you put WAEC app and JAMB app in one application. Okay, it can never bring out the best in you. All right, that is just a way to scam you. Okay, so please, WAEC application is tailored for WAEC. Everything that has to do with WAEC, okay, that is what is in the WAEC app. In the JAMB app, is tailored for JAMB. You can use the WAEC app for NECO, you can use it for GCE, you can use it for NABTEB, okay, and so on and so forth, okay. The JAMB app, you can use it for post-TME also. So please get your apps, activate them, succeed at once. All right, so please, the app also has, what's more, the classroom feature. In the classroom, you find the latest JAMB syllabus. You find what lecture notes structured according to that JAMB syllabus. You see what video lessons. You see what study plan. The study plan is like is something on the application that creates a timetable for you using the JAMB syllabus. All right. Many of you prepare for your exam, you do not finish your syllabus. That's a very, very, very big no. Okay, please ensure you finish your syllabus before your exam. All right, if you want to perform optimally well, finish your syllabus. So what the study plan will help you achieve is finish your syllabus just in time. If you want to prepare for exam in 3 months, in 2 months, in 1 month, in 1 week, although you know that the shorter the time, the more bulky your workload will be. All right, so please ensure that you start on time. Okay, also on the app, we also find what's the mock challenge. All right, so all students who are preparing for JAMB or WAEC come to the application every Saturday to compete among themselves to win a lot of prizes. But of course, the main reason why we are doing that challenge is not because of the prizes. A lot of people get it wrong. Okay, we don't do the challenge because of the prizes. The prize is just to motivate you. Okay, so please, the main reason why you are coming is to get it to JAMB past question or WAEC past question, to get it to JAMB likely exam questions or WAEC likely exam question, to familiarize yourself with how JAMB set questions. It will put you in place of the examiner. Okay, and you see how the examiner is reasoning, the kind of question the examiner may likely bring. Okay, and after using the application, you'll be able to predict, okay, that this question will be like what thing will come out. Okay, so please, that is that for that. So please ensure you get the app, and you'll be seeing your results released just like normal JAMB or WAEC, okay, after every examination. All right, so please jump on the application, activate it. Activation fee is less than the price of rice and chicken in a good restaurant. Okay, so please ensure that you get the activation key. All right, do not go and be playing away with your time. Okay, the activation fee is not expensive. Don't say it's expensive, because what the app is giving you is sure for your success. Go and check our testimonies last year. You see a lot of students who are scoring 300 and above. Okay, you can also do this. All right, so please make yourself proud, make your parents proud. That is the only reason why you're preparing for these exams. All right, so let us now go to the evidences, okay, for evolution. All right, so the evidences for evolution, you can see them right in front of us. Okay, all right, they are spread all over biology. They are spread all over science. Okay, the evidences for evolution, okay, comes from different fields of biology. All right, and comes from different fields of science. These pieces of evidences, okay, that are spread across this field, okay, all point to the fact that life on Earth has changed over time. Okay, so this is what all of what this evidences point to. It point to what? The fact that what the life on Earth, okay, has changed over what time, and of course that what that all organisms have what a common ancestor, okay, or ancestry. That organisms have what a common ancestry. Okay, so this is what the evidence of evolution point to. Okay, that what life on Earth has changed over time, and that organisms have what common with ancestors. Okay, or common ancestry. All right. So, what are the evidences? I'm going to look at what 4 evidences in this class. Okay, I think that should be able to cover up for all of that. So let's quickly see the evidences of evolution. Number 1 is from embryology. Okay, embryology. So we have embryological what evidence. Embryological. Okay, then number 2 we also have from anatomy. All right, I have anatomical and morphological evidence. Okay, we have what anatomical and morphological. Okay, so we have what anatomical and what and morphological what evidence. All right, they also have paleontology. Okay, from paleontology or fossil records. All right, so number 3, paleontological what evidence. Okay, they also have biogeographical what evidence. All right, we have bio means life, then geography. Okay, where we live. Biogeographical what evidences. Okay, so these are the 4 evidences I'm going to be looking at in this class. Okay, if you know all of these 4, there's no question that will be asked of you that has to do with evidence of evolution that you will not be able to answer. All right, so number 1, the embryological evidence. Number 2, the anatomical evidence, anatomical and morphological evidence. Number 3, the paleontological evidence. And then number 4, the biogeographical evidence. So let's begin with embryological what evidence, okay? Embryological what evidence, number 1, all right? So if you take a look at embryos, okay? Embryos, all right? You see what evidences of what of evolution. So during fertilization, when what the egg and the sperm, okay, when they fuse together to form what the zygote, okay, all right, you discover that what there are a lot of evidences, all right, that point to what to evolution. Certain features during the embryonic stage, okay, or the embryo stage, all right, are common to what to all vertebrates. They are common to vertebrates, okay, which are absent, okay, in the adults. All right, so there are some certain features, all right, that are common to what to vertebrates, okay, in the embryo stage, okay, but in the adult stage they are completely absent. You will discover that the embryo of all vertebrates develop what we call a row. Develops, number 1, the embryo. Okay, let us just say this is a pointer. The embryo of all vertebrates, okay, develops what we call a row of vestigial gill slits. Vestigial gill slits behind the head. Okay, so you see this in embryos. Okay, so the embryo of all vertebrates, okay, if you look at them, if you study them very well, you see that they develop a row of vestigial or gill slits, all right, which is behind the head. Fundamental features show up, okay, such as the presence of the central holodorsal nervous system. Okay, so there are some fundamental features that show up, such as the presence of the central holodorsal nervous system, and also the presence of pharyngeal gill slit. Okay, pharyngeal gill slit. Okay, these are some of the fundamental features that show up. Okay, you find the presence of the central holodorsal nervous system and also the presence of the pharyngeal gill slit. You also find out that ontogeny that ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. Okay, we discovered that word that ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. Okay, what is ontogeny? Ontogeny is what is the developmental history of an animal. Okay, this is what developmental history of an animal. Okay, recapitulates means what? Repeat. Okay, then phylogeny is what? Is the developmental, this one is developmental for ontogeny, while phylogeny is what? Is evolutionary history of an animal. Okay, so when we say ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny, okay, we're talking about ontogeny is talking about what? Developmental history of the animal. Recapitulate means to repeat. While what? The phylogeny speaks about the evolutionary history of an animal. So if you are bringing both of them together now, all right, this ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny will mean that what? That the developmental history of an animal repeats its what? Evolutionary what? History. Okay, so that's what we mean when we say ontogeny recapitulates what? Phylogeny. Ontogeny is developmental history, phylogeny is evolutionary history. Okay, if I bring it both together, we are trying to say that what? That the developmental history, okay, of an animal repeats its evolutionary history. Just study the what? The embryos, okay, of what? Or different what? Animals, like for example birds, okay, let's say reptiles. All right, you discover that what? That their embryos, okay, the embryo stage, okay, is what? Is it looks alike, okay, or is the same. All of this was put forward by a man called Ernst Haeckel. Okay, it was put together by a man called Ernst Haeckel. Okay, but of course it was disproved by Karl Ernst von Baer. Okay, it was disproved by Karl Ernst von Baer. Okay, it was disproved by Karl Ernst von Baer. Okay, so all of this discussion I'll be having, all of them were put forward by Ernst Haeckel. Okay, but of course, Karl Ernst von Baer disproved what? All of these. Karl Ernst von Baer is referred to as the father. Okay, Karl Ernst von Baer, all right, is referred to as the father of modern embryology. Okay, please take note of that. Karl Ernst von Baer, all right, is widely regarded as what? As the father of what? Of modern embryology. He disproved what? Okay, all the things was written by what? Or said by what? By Ernst Haeckel, and he gave the basic principle of embryonic what? Development. All right, Karl Ernst von Baer gave the basic principle of embryonic development. He observed that what? That embryos never pass through what? The adult stages of what? Of other animals. Okay, he observed, okay, very specifically that what? That embryos do not pass through what? The adult stages of other animals. So now let us go to the second what? Evidence of what? Of evolution. All right, which is what? Anatomical and morphological what? Evidence. Okay, anatomical and morphological evidence. Okay, so I've discovered that a lot of you do not support our classes. All right, you do not even want your other colleagues to pass their exam, which is very, very bad. Okay, please ensure you like this video. Liking the video will make this video to be seen easily by other students who are preparing for what? For this exam. All right, so please just leave everything you are doing right now, like the video. Okay, share the link of this video, subscribe to this channel. If you're watching from Facebook, follow us on Facebook. If you're watching from TikTok, follow us on TikTok. Okay, it's the least you can do to support our endeavor here. All right, as you do this, may God bless you richly. Okay, so let's look at anatomical and morphological evidence of evolution. All right, now when it comes to anatomical and morphological evidence, okay, I'll just try and make it easy for you. Okay, there's some stuff you must take note of. Okay, number one is what is it called? Homologous organs. Okay, they also have what? Analogous. Okay, they will have what? Vestigial organs. They also have what? Connecting link. Okay, all right. So these are the things, okay, that you are expected. Also, you must also take note of missing link, missing links. Okay, so you must take note of what of all of these, okay, when it comes to what anatomical and morphological what evidences. So from connecting link, okay, you should know that's what something that links, okay, that connects, okay, it's not missing, it's connecting. All right, so there are organisms that show the characteristics of two major groups, okay, or of two different groups. Okay, so connecting link are what organisms that show a characteristics, okay, of two different groups, okay, of what of organisms, okay. That's what known as what as connecting links. Okay, please take note of that. Organisms that show a characteristic of two different groups of organisms are known as what as connecting links. Okay, we have what many examples. Okay, there are some that link what annelids and anthropods, some that links chordates and non-chordates, that links what fishes and amphibians, that links what reptiles and amphibians, and so on and so forth. Okay, let us see some of this example of what of connecting link. Number one is what is peripatos. Okay, we have the one we call peripatos. Number one, peripatos. This one links annelids and anthropods together. Okay, peripatos link is the connecting link between what anthropods and annelids. Okay, so between what anthropods and annelids. Okay, they also have archaeopteryx. Okay, we also have what archaeopteryx. Number two, archaeopteryx. Okay, this one connecting link between what reptiles and birds. Okay, archaeopteryx. All right, connecting link between reptiles and birds. Okay, so that is what archaeopteryx. That is the connecting link between reptiles and birds. Then we have balanoglossus. Okay, we have what balanoglossus. Balanoglossus. Okay, this one is between what chordates and non-chordates. Okay, you know what chordata and phylum chordata. Okay, so this one balanoglossus links what the connecting link between chordates and non-chordates. Then we have platypus. Okay, between reptiles and mammals. Okay, number four, now what platypus. This one is between okay, so platypus is the connecting link between what reptiles and mammals. Then we have long fishes, okay, between what fishes and amphibians. Okay, long fishes. All right, we have long fishes. This one between what fishes and amphibians. Okay, that is another what connecting link. Okay, fishes that have what long fishes. Okay, is the connecting link between what fishes and amphibians. Then we also have what semoria. Okay, that one is between what amphibians and reptiles. Okay, we also have what semoria. This one is actually fossil. Okay, this one between what amphibians and reptiles. Okay, so these are what connecting links. Okay, we say what connecting links are organisms that show a characteristics of two different groups. Okay, they show a characteristics of what of two different groups. Okay, hence the word is it acts as a connecting link. Okay, between what those two groups. Okay, of what of organisms. Okay, like peripatos. All right, which is connecting link between anthropods and what and annelids. Okay, anthropoda and what and the annelids. Okay, then archaeopteryx between what reptiles and birds. The balanoglossus between what chordates and non-chordates. Platypus between what reptiles and mammals. Long fishes between fishes and amphibians. Semoria, which is fossil, also between what amphibians and reptiles. Then also we're supposed to want to know what missing links. Okay. Missing link. Okay, we say missing link is a fossil form that shows what transitional what difference. Okay, between what two major group of organisms. Okay, so that's what we call missing link. Okay, missing link. A fossil form that shows transitional features, okay, between two major group of organisms. Okay, missing links. Okay, is a fossil form that shows transitional features between two major groups of organisms. Okay, so that's what known as missing link. It's a fossil form that shows transitional features between two major groups of organisms. An example is Australopithecus. Okay, Australopithecus. Okay, Lopithecus. Okay, this one is between apes and modern humans. Apes and and modern humans. At least remember when Darwin actually said that humans, okay, apes, monkeys, they are related. Okay, so we have Australopithecus. Okay, that is the missing link. Okay, that is missing link between apes and modern humans. But also know that the missing links are actually extinct. Okay, they do not exist any longer. Okay, they don't vanish. Okay, they are extinct. Okay, they are extinct. All right, they do no longer exist. Also, you're also supposed to learn about living fossil. Okay, living fossil. Okay, this living fossil is a living organism. It's a living organism, organism. Okay, that has remained unchanged for millions of years. Okay, yet still resembles its ancient fossil ancestor. Its ancient fossil ancestors. Okay, so that's what living fossil, a living organism that has remained unchanged for millions of years, but yet, okay, they still resemble their ancient fossil ancestor. Okay, an example is Peripatus. Okay, which is worm-like. Okay, worm-like organism. Okay, so the way worms look like, okay, then, okay, they still look exactly the same. They have remained unchanged for millions of years, but yet they still resemble their ancient fossil ancestors. Those are the ones referred to as living fossil. Peripatus, as an example, has remained unchanged for millions of years, up to from like 485 to let's say 550 million years. Okay, it has remained the same, that remain unchanged. Okay, so that is an example of living fossil. We say Peripatus connect Anthropus and Annelids, isn't it? We look at it. We look at connecting link. Okay, so please take note of connecting link, take note of missing links, and take note of living fossil. Okay, they are very, very important as we discuss anatomical and morphological evidences of evolution. Anatomical and morphological evidence, okay, they are based on comparison. Okay, anatomical and morphological evidence, they are based on comparison on form. Okay, on the form and structure. Okay, of number one, different organs. Okay, they are based on the comparison of they have of the form and structure of different organs. Number one, parts of of animals. Okay, and also plants of different species. Okay, so anatomical and morphological evidence, okay, of evolution, okay, that are based on comparison of the form and structure of different organs. Okay, of parts of animals, okay, and plants of different species. Please know that homologous and analogous organs, which I'm going to look at very soon, and analogous organs. Okay, all right, organs. All right, they are both what present what in not only what animals, okay, they are present also in what in plants. Okay, take note of that. Homologous and analogous organs are also what present in what in plants. Another very important thing to understand also is divergent what evolution. Okay, we have spoken about it before. Divergent what evolution. Okay, it's also very important that you remember what we said about divergent evolution. We said that divergent evolution is the development of different functional structures. Okay, the development of different functional structures, okay, among a group of closely related what animals. Okay, that's what we said what divergent evolution is. Okay, the development of different functional structures, okay, among a group of closely related animals. That is what divergent what evolution. Take note, please. These are exam questions. Okay, the development of different functional structures among a group of closely related animals is what's referred to as divergent evolution. Examples are like mammals. Okay, mammals, they have hair, isn't it? Mammals have hair, H-A-I-R. Okay, mammals, they have what? Mammary gland. Mammary gland. Okay, so different functional structure. They have hair, they have mammary gland. Okay, some mammals, they can fly. Okay, some they can run. Okay, like for example, cheetah. Cheetah can run what very fast. You know the animal called cheetah, isn't it? It can run very fast. Okay, some live in water. Okay, some live on what? On the land. Different functional structures, okay, among a group of closely related animals. That's what we call what? Divergent evolution. So let us talk about what homologous structures now, okay? Homologous structures. Please ensure you have downloaded the O3 Schools app. Okay, that app is what will save you, okay, save your time, all right, save your energy, give you good results. O3 Schools is the way to school, okay? If you have been planning on going to school and I'm writing JAMB and JAMB will be jamming you, okay, get the O3 Schools app. All right, it's the sure way to what? To go to what? To school, to enter school. Okay, so we're looking at download the app, activate it. Homologous structure or homologous what? Organs now. Now, okay, so let us now talk about what? Homologous structures, okay, or what? Organs. All right, so homologous structures, first of all, it is important to know that what? They provide evidence for divergent evolution. Okay, homologous structures or organs provide evidence for divergent evolution. What does say divergent evolution is? Okay, we say the formation or the development of different functional structures among a group of closely related animals. Take note, it's different from convergent. Convergent is development of of similar functional structure among a group of widely related animals. Widely related. This one is closely related. Okay, but this one different functional structures. All right. While convergent is talking about similar functional structure. So homologous organs or structures provide evidence for for divergent evolution. Okay, and what is homologous structure? When we talk about homologous structures or organs, we're talking about same biological structures in animals. Developing along different directions. Okay, I'm talking about same biological structures in animals that are developing along different directions due to adaptation, adaptations to what we call different needs. Okay, so that is what homologous structures or organs. Okay, we're talking about same biological structures. Organisms that are having same biological structures. Okay, all right, but they are developing along different directions because of of adaptation to to different needs. Okay, it's just like your arm. Okay, your own arm. All right, so some people may use it to do different things. two human beings can use their arm for different purposes. Okay, so you can even say that your own arm and my own arm, they are what? Homologous what organs. Okay, because we can use them for different what needs. Okay, so same biological structures in animals developing along different directions due to adaptation to different needs is what we call what? Homologous structures or organs. An example is cucurbita and the Bougainvillea. Okay, so this is what an example. Cucurbita what and Bougainvillea. Okay, it's an example of what? Of homologous what structures. The cucurbita has what? Tendrils. How to call it? Tendrils. Okay, while these ones have what? Have four limbs of what? Of tetrapods. Okay, so this one has what? Four limbs of what? Tetrapods, while what? Cucurbita has what? Tendrils. The Bougainvillea also has thorns. Okay, the Bougainvillea also has what? Thorns. Okay, so these are what? These are homologous what? Organs. Same biological structure in animal developing along different directions due to adaptation to different needs, like the Cucurbita and the Bougainvillea. This one has tendrils. This one has what? Thorns and has what? Four limbs of what? Of tetrapods. Homologous organs, they are built on the same pentatactile plan. Okay, they are built on the same pentatactile what? Plan. Okay, that's why when I say your arm and my arm, they are homologous what? Organs. Okay, right? That's another what? Example. So these are what? Homologous structures. Please understand them very well. Okay, so homologous structure or organ, they provide evidence for divergent evolution. Okay, they provide evidence for divergent evolution. Okay, it's what? Same biological structures in animals developing along different directions due to adaptation to different needs. Okay, that is that about what? Homologous what? Organs. Then now also we'll talk about what? Convergent evolution. I've said what convergent evolution is, isn't it? I say that convergent evolution is development of what? Of similar functional structures. Okay, among a group of what? Of widely related animals. Please take that note down, write it down, all right? All right, convergent evolution is the development of what? Of similar functional structures among a group of widely related what? Organisms. Okay, so that is what? Convergent evolution. Okay, and also we're supposed to talk about what? Analogous organs now. Analogous structures or organs. Okay, and also it's important to know that analogous structures or organs provide evidence for convergent evolution. Okay, homologous organs provide evidence for divergent evolution, while analogous organs or structures provide evidence for what? For convergent evolution. So what are analogous for structures? Okay, analogous structures are biological structures, okay, with similar function, okay, but they have different anatomical structures. Okay, they are what? Biological structures with what we call what? Similar functions, but they have what we call different anatomical structures. Okay, all right. So that is what we refer to as what? As analogous what? Structures. Okay, they are what? Biological structures. They have similar functions but different anatomical structure. They provide evidence for what? For convergent evolution. Okay, an example is the sting of a bee, sting of an honey bee. Okay, for example, sting of a scorpion. Okay, and the sting of a honeybee. Okay, this is an example of what? Of analogous what? Structures. Scorpion sting is formed by the last abdominal segment Okay, it is formed by the last abdominal segment known as what? As tension. Okay, or tensor. Okay, and of course, it is part of the exoskeleton, and it is part of the exoskeleton and body segment. Okay, so the scorpion sting. Okay, I'm just trying to show you what analogous what organs. Okay, they have biological, they have similar what functions. Okay, all right, their structures have similar function, but they have different anatomical what structures. Okay, those are what we call analogous what organs. Okay, for example, the sting of a scorpion and the sting of an honeybee. The sting of a scorpion is formed by the last abdominal segment. Okay, we call what tensor. Okay, and it is part of the exoskeleton and the body segment. While what the sting of an honeybee, on the other hand, is formed by the what? Ovipositor. Okay, is formed by the ovipositor. The ovipositor is the egg-laying organ in the what? The female bee. Okay, this one is the what? The egg-laying organ in the female bee. Okay, now this ovipositor is part of the reproductive system. Okay, why what? As you can see for the sting of a bird, all right, it is formed by the last abdominal segment, okay, of what? Of the what? Of the scorpion. Okay, this one is formed by the egg-laying organ, okay, in the what? In the female bee, which is the ovipositor. They are formed in different what? Locations, okay? They have different what? Origins, okay? They have what? Different what? Structures, okay? But they have a similar function. Their function is what? Is for defense. The reason why a scorpion wants to sting you or bite you, okay, is because what? It wants to what? Defend itself against what? Your attack, against an impending attack. All right. Also, the bee also is for defense. All right. You want to go and carry their honey, they will give you better sting waiting no good. Okay. So the functions are what? Are the same. They have a similar function. That's why they're called analogous organs. Okay. They have similar function, but they have what? Different anatomical structures. The sting of a scorpion is formed by the last abdominal segment, okay? While this one is formed by the what? By the ovipositor, which is what? The egg-laying organ in the what? In the female bee, and it is part of what? Of the reproductive system. Both are used for what? For defense, okay, and injection of venom, okay? They are used for defense and injection of venom, okay, but as you can see, they are formed from what? From different what? Parts, okay, of what? Of the body of what? Of the organism, okay. They have what? Different what? Structures, okay. They have what? Different what? Origin, okay. So that is what? An example of what? Of analogous what? Organ. Another example is wing of butterfly and wing of birds, okay. Another example of analogous structures is what? Wing of butterfly, wing of butterfly, okay, and the wing of birds, okay. So this is another what? Example of what? Of analogous what? Structure. Also, we have horn of rhinoceros, horn of rhinoceros, okay, horn of cattle, okay, and also the antlers of deer, okay. This is another example, okay, of what? Of analogous organs. Then we also have flippers of penguin and dolphins. Flippers of dolphins, of penguins rather, and what? And dolphins. Okay, they are what? Also what? Example of analogous what? Organs. As you can see, penguin there is what? Is a bird, okay? While what? Dolphin is a mammal. This one is a mammal. Okay, this one is what? Is a bird. Okay, they are what? They are analogous what? Examples of what? Of analogous what? Organs. Or homologous, analogous what? Structures rather. Analogous structure. They have similar function. The flippers, okay, of the penguin and that of what? Of the dolphin. Also, we have what? The human eye and octopus eye. Okay, it's another what? Example. Also, a common example is a sweet potato. sweet potato, and normal potato. Okay, all right. These are also what analogous for structures. Okay, so please ensure you take note of all of these examples. Okay, all right. So analogous structures, they have what same biological structure, similar functions. Okay, but of course they have what different anatomical structures. Okay, they have what same biological what functions. They have similar functions. All right, but of course they have what different anatomical structures. Okay, that is what analogous organ examples, like we said. The scorpion sting and honeybee sting. All right. Which other second example did you give? Wing of butterfly and wings of bird, horn of rhinoceros, horn of cattle, antlers of what deers, okay, flippers of penguins and dolphins, all right, the human eye and the octopus eye, sweet potato and normal potato. All of these are examples of analogous organs. I expected what to know all of these, please. Now let us talk about vestigial organs. Okay. All right, vestigial organs. Please ensure you have liked this video, you have subscribed, you are sharing. Okay, let's look at vestigial organs. All right, ensure you have downloaded the app. All right, download the app and of course ensure that what you activate it so that I can get the full benefits. Okay, check our testimonies from last year. Just go to the O3 Schools channel on YouTube, click on the playlist, look for testimonies playlist, and see a lot of people's testimony, okay, how their lives have been transformed by this amazing app, vestigial organs. All right, so what are vestigial organs? Okay, so vestigial organs are organs, okay, or structures that were in the ancestor before, right? But now, okay, they have now become reduced in size and have now almost lost their function. Okay, they are completely lost, or they are just there and they are no longer as functional as they used to be. Okay, those are what we call vestigial organs. Okay, so it also provides evidence for evolution, right? What are vestigial organs? We say that they are organs or structures that were well developed, okay, and functional in our ancestors or in the ancestor of an organism, okay, in the ancestor of an organism, okay, but have now become reduced or become lost, okay, but have now become reduced, have now become reduced in in size, okay, or have now become lost and have lost or almost lost their original function. Okay, so these are what we call vestigial organs. Okay, they are organs or structures that were well developed, okay, and functional in the ancestor of an organism, okay, but have now become reduced in size, all right, and have now lost or almost lost their original function. Those are what we call as vestigial organs. They are kind of leftovers from evolution, okay, trying to show how species have changed over time. Okay, we call them leftovers from evolution, all right, which shows us how species over time have changed. Okay, and examples of these vestigial organs are appendix is an example. Okay, so the appendix, okay, was well developed before. It was used in digesting cellulose in plant food. Okay, but now they have become very, very small, very reduced in size, and they have no major function or major role, and they have little or no immune function. Okay, so an appendix is an example of a vestigial organ. Then we have the coccyx. Okay, we have the coccyx, which is called the tailbone. All right, this one before was used for balance. Okay, but now you see that what they have become what fused. Okay, they have become what fused, and what obviously you will not see tail again. All right, so those are what now. That's also what an example of a vestigial organ. The coccyx is an example of a vestigial organ. All right. Then we have what's it called? Wisdom teeth. Wisdom teeth is also an example. Wisdom teeth. Okay, this one was used for chewing what plant what food. All right. But now, tough plant food, you use what wisdom teeth to chew them, right? But over time, you see that when they become problematic and need to be removed, all right? So wisdom teeth is another example of what of a vestigial organ. Then also we have what body hair, okay, in the skin, all right. It's basically for what for warmth and protection, okay. But now they have become what aesthetic. Okay, they have become what aesthetic. They can literally not hold what any hair. In fact, sometimes some people don't have hair on their body. Okay, see that some people have what they are hairless. All right, some have what many hairs in their body. Some people don't have at all. Okay, so that's another example of what of a vestigial what organ. We have other examples in animals like the what is it called? We have what nictating what membranes. Nictating membranes. Okay, we also have what muscles for ear movements, muscles for ear movement. Okay, we also have what the male nipples. All right, so if you are a boy and watching this video right now, you have a nipple. What do they can do? Okay, they have no reproductive function. Okay, they have no sexual ability. They have sexual function. Okay, now you know. All right, but then the male nipple, you cannot give your baby to suck. All right, so it's as simple as what that. So the male nipple is also what an example. Other examples in animal, we have flightless birds. Flightless birds. Okay, like the kiwi and the ostrich. Okay, the kiwi and the ostrich, they have what feathers, but they cannot fly. Okay, so that's another example of what of vestigial what organ. Okay, so in kiwis and what an ostriches, flightless birds. Okay, so these are all we'll look at under what vestigial organs. So next we'll look at atavism. Atavism or atavism. All right, please make sure you download the app. Okay, please. All right, download the app and subscribe to this channel. Okay, like our videos. All right, so let's look at atavism. Okay, so atavism is the reappearance of a trait that has been lost. Okay, called the reappear. Okay, of a trait that has been lost. Okay, due to what? Evolution. All right, so a trait that has been lost, okay, the reappearance of that trait is what is known as what? As atavism. Please take note of that. It is the sudden reappearance of some ancestral traits. Sudden reappearance of what? Of somewhat ancestral traits, okay? That's what we call what? Atavism. For example, like the appearance of tail in newborns, okay? It's an atavism or feature. Presence of a super moist mammary gland. Super moist mammary what? Gland, okay? Appearance of tails. In newborns. Okay, long canines in your teeth. Okay, all right. So all of these are what they are atavism or future. Okay, all right. So basically, that's what I'm going to say about atavism. So let us now talk about the paleontological evidence. Okay, all right. So let's see paleontological evidence. Paleontological evidence. All right, that's from fossil records. Okay. Paleontological. All right, so what is paleontology? Okay, paleontology is the study of fossils. Study of fossils, okay? There are remains or traces of ancient remains or traces of ancient life, of remains or traces of ancient life preserved in rocks. Okay, so that's what known as what as fossils. Okay, study of fossils. Okay, the remains or traces of ancient life. Okay, that have been what preserved in rocks. Okay, that is what this provides what evidence for what for evolution. Okay, so that's what we call the paleontological what evidence. It tells us about organisms that lived millions of years ago. Okay, tells us about how they look, okay, and how they changed over time. Okay, so that's what paleontological evidence what basically what tells us. All right, so there's something called chronological order. It tells us that fossils are found in layers of rocks. Okay, and they are found in layers of rock called what strata. Okay, or what one can call strata, right? It tells us that fossils are found in layers of rock called what strata, okay, and that you can find what some organisms in the upper layer, the middle layer, okay, and the lower layer, okay. Some examples of organisms that are found in the lower layers, okay. We have bacteria, we have what algae. All right, we have invertebrates. Okay, it says this organism. It says that all these organisms are what to find the lower layer, right, of rocks. Okay, then in the middle layer. Okay, we find what amphibians, and reptiles. Okay, so that these are the organisms that we found in the middle layer. Okay, find amphibians, we found late reptiles. While in the upper layer we find mammals, we find birds. Okay, we find humans. Okay, those are what we found in the upper layer. Right, so in the upper layer, okay, we find birds. Okay, we find humans. We find mammals. Okay, so these are the organisms that is said that what we found in the upper layer. All right, so that is about paleontological evidence. Okay, it just basically shows progression. Okay, from simple life to complex life. Okay, so it shows progression. Okay, and of course we have said over and over again that evolution is is progressive. Okay, it moves in the forward direction, it never stops. Okay, so that is that about the paleontological evidence. So now look at the last evidence, which is biogeographical evidence. Biogeographical evidence. All right, so we are coming to a close. All right, please ensure you have downloaded the app and you have liked our video, you have subscribed to our channel. Okay, let's look at the biogeographical evidence. All right, so what does the biogeographical evidence talk about? And we know that bio, okay, bio first of all means life. Okay, why geography talk about where living things, okay, or where things, all right, living things live on on earth. Okay, so that is geography. Okay, now that means the study of of where living things are found. Okay, biogeography. Okay, is the biological study of where things or where living things are found on earth, where they are located. Okay, that's biogeography. Okay, that's what's called biogeography. It is the study of how plants and animals are distributed on earth and why they are found where they are. When we look at the map of the world, okay, and we look at specifically look at where organisms, okay, where different organisms live, okay, we begin to see evidences, right, of evolution. The key idea in this biogeographical evidence is that the whole world, okay, was one very big continent before, was one big land mass. all right, was one big landmass that is known as Pangaea, okay? Pangaea, all right, Pangaea, all right? As the continent splits, splits apart, okay, when continental drift happened, okay, you see that what organisms were isolated from each other. All right, so because of this, all right, organisms need to evolve differently, need to grow differently. Okay, so organisms now began to evolve in different manners, and this is what we call adaptive radiation, or divergent evolution. And that is why you see organisms like marsupials. Okay, example is kangaroos. Kangaroos, okay? All right, they live mainly in Australia, okay? Placental animals. This one, they live mainly in Australia, okay? It's according to biogeographical evidence, okay? It's as a result of this continental drift, okay? So organisms were isolated, all right? Then placental animals, okay, like lions, okay, all of those ones, all right, you see them in Africa, all right, because that was where that was better suited for them. You see them mostly in Africa. Also, unique species, okay, there were some unique species, okay, in only one location, okay. You cannot find them anywhere, like the kiwi birds, okay, in New Zealand. Right? They are found in New Zealand, all right? They just adapted to that environment, and of course, did not spread any other place, okay? So, unique, according to unique species, or we give it a term known as as endemism. Okay, all right. So this one, there are species that are adapted to a particular environment and did not spread to other areas. Like, for example, the finches. That we found in the Galapagos Island, okay, and in the NECO Island, okay, all right. So those ones, they're only in that location, okay. They did not spread to other areas. Also, it talks about highlands, okay, as natural laboratories for evolution, okay, just like the Galapagos Island, okay. So all these islands are usually far away from civilization, okay, from where people live, okay, sometimes far middle of rivers and so on and so forth, okay. So all these that got there, or that were there when continental drift happened, they had to adapt to that environment, okay. So you can only find them in that kind of places like giant tortoises, okay. If you go to Tanzania, I think you'll see some big tortoises, okay. Although I'm not sure they're as giant as the one that we saw at Galapagos Island, all right, in this voyage on the HMS Beagle, okay. But of course, all right, the islands you find some organisms there, and they have adapted to that specific or that particular environment. So biogeography shows that species evolve differently in different locations, okay. That species evolve differently, okay, at different locations, okay. And then also it also shows that isolation leads to the formation of new species, okay. So that's what we learn from the biogeographical evidence of evolution. So please wrap your hand around all of them, okay. Know most of the 10, okay. In the next class, we are going to focus on answer questions only from evolution, from past questions, okay. Please do not be caught with one thing, and ensure you download the AutoSchools app, activate the app, all right, and start studying immediately. We have looked at embryological evidence, anatomical, morphological evidence, look at paleontological evidence. I've looked at biogeographical evidences, okay. There are some other evidences, all right. You can look them up on yourself, but these ones are within, of course, the scope of what you are supposed to be taught, all right. I wish you all the best. My name remains Master T, the Grand Commander of the O3 Schools Army. All right, thank you for choosing O3 Schools, and I wish you all the best in your exams.